Hey movie junkies, welcome back to Twin Flicks, where we always here celebrating the magic movies and most importantly, physical media with you. Now, I received these a few days ago, the 4K UHD presentation of Black Christmas and today's movie, Carrie, both from Shout Factory. So keep an eye out for Black Christmas 4K versus Blu-ray comparison. And the best way to do that is by being a subscriber. So hit that subscribe button, and when you do so, also make sure you hit that notification bell to be notified when new videos drop. Now first, before we get into the review, I just wanted to show you this beautiful steelbook artwork. Take a look at that artwork. It is extremely detailed. I love it. It's just fantastic. And inside is some artwork too. Not as good, but still it's just basically a stills from the movie. Now this is a limited edition steelbook, so if you want to grab it before it's out of print, a link will be down in the description. Now, even though Carrie came out on Blu-ray from Shout Factory back in 2016, I believe, it was sourced from a 4K scan. This 4K UHD, however, surprisingly is not sourced from that 2016 4K scan, but it has a brand new 2022 4K restoration from the original camera negative, forming a new native 4K DI with HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision grading that was prepared by MGM. So without further ado, we're going to take a look at the 4K UHD compared to the Blu-ray that's not here. I guess I must have left the Blu-ray in the home theater room. I've been doing that from time to time for some reason. I just finished watching it and comparing it before I sat down to shoot this review, but I left the Blu-ray in the home theater room. But yes, we are going to compare the differences here between the 4K UHD presentation and the 2016 Blu-ray. See all the improvements and changes, if any. And as usual, I have screenshots to compare the differences for yourself. So let's get started. The 2016 4K scan Blu-ray, even though it had some nice improvements, it still had some major issues with black levels, grain structure inconsistency, and also some issues with stability, especially with the famous split screen sequences. And when comparing the 2016 Blu-ray to this new native 4K, it fixes all these issues without a problem. Whites are now more brilliant white. In fact, the Blu-ray, the whites looked more pinkish, as you can see here with the socks and also with the page of the book. That is completely gone and corrected, giving it a bright white that looks fantastic. Now, Brian De Palma chose to shoot the film with many scenes having a softer, hazy, blown-out, dreamlike shots to them, giving the film a very unique look to it in certain scenes. And this UHD handles all of this perfectly. The higher resolution gives a much crisper and clearer image that's also sharper. The color reproduction is excellent. And the HDR Dolby Vision grading, at first glance, I wasn't blown away with bright colors or colors that pop. But as the film went on, the grading gives some really nice improvements to the color reproduction. And the wider color gamut opens up the primaries that looks much bolder and richer. Reds are much richer, including the gorier finale looks more lifelike with deep crimson reds. A couple of nice reference points is that gym teacher's hoodie is more naturally bright blue than on the previous Blu-ray, and the girls' gym shirts are brighter yellow without any shading issues. Now, one problem the Blu-ray has is the skin tones were all over the place. We had skin tones that were too pinkish or oranges. And Carrie, who's supposed to look malnourished, looked a little too pale on the Blu-ray. With the help from the HDR Dolby Vision grading, skin tones are much more lifelike now with healthy, warmer tones, and Carrie's malnourished look is well maintained and not overly pale like the Blu-ray is. Explosions and fire has much bolder orange yellowish color to it that ignites the screen, including a very slight glow to it. The black levels also has a big boost with deeper, inkier blacks, improving image depth while enhancing shadows and shading and dark spaces, with zero crushing that plagued the 2016 Blu-ray and also previous releases. Now, going back to De Palma's softer look in various scenes, the UHD stays very faithful to the original source material, where the softer dreamlike sequences are well maintained and looks truer to the source material than the Blu-ray did, but it can still look a little gamey at times. Another reference point with this UHD is with the amount of textures and details that all looks cleaner and sharper than ever before. All those tight close-up shots, you can easily make out skin imperfections, lines, blemishes, makeup looks better, and the climactic conclusion in the gymnasium has much more detail. The split screen looks rock solid and stable. I will say though that the grain structure is still pretty noisy at times, but it's also more maintained and no spiky grain levels unlike the Blu-ray, and it does give off a very nice filmic appearance to it. Now, as for the audio, it does include 3 different audio tracks: a DTS HD lossless mono, a DTS HD lossless stereo, and a DTS HD lossless 5.1 track, and they all sound terrific. The 5.1 track opens up the soundstage more, that works very well with detail to all the atmospheric effects, and there's some nice effects in the surround channels. And of course the climax becomes a whirlwind of various surround effects, music and explosions to sounds from humming of live wires. All of it just radiates through the surround channels and also carries some nice weight to it. But honestly, I have to say it's the stereo or the mono tracks that feels more natural and authentic to the film. It also sounds more tighter. Those 2 tracks just fit the film better. Dialogue on all 3 tracks are rendered cleanly and crisp, and nothing drowns out the dialogue. Either track sounds great, but again, I would say stick with the stereo or the mono track. So my score for Shout Factory's 4K UHD presentation of Carrie, I'm giving the video a 4.5 out of 5 and the audio a 4 out of 5. But now I want to hear from you. Head over to the comments section and let me know, when you compare the differences here between the 2 formats, the Blu-ray and the 4K, which do you think looks better? Or do you see any improvements at all? Let me know over in the comments. Well, thanks so much for spending a few minutes here with me and talking about the 4K UHD of Carrie and comparing it to the Blu-ray. As always, keep physical media alive, and I'll see you next time.